So the issue we have right now is a scattered configuration. And we say scattered configuration because when you're configuring EIGRP for IPv4, you do it in IPv4 EIGRP configuration mode. EIGRP for IPv6 is done in IPv6 EIGRP configuration mode. But then you still have all of these other commands that are done in interface configuration mode. So when you look at the running config, you have a scattered configuration for EIGRP. A little bit is here, a little bit is there. There's no consistency in regards to where everything is, which means in large environments, large deployments dual stacked with IPv4 and IPv6, it's an absolute nightmare for administrators. So now, with EIGRP named configuration mode, all of our EIGRP configurations are done in one place. One place, under the named configuration mode. So everything's unified now, and it's backwards compatible. What that means is that as you deploy new routers, deploy them in named configuration mode. And they will still form neighbor adjacencies with those routers that aren't using named configuration mode. So, I'm not telling you right now to go out and change all of your routers. No, don't do that. That's a lot of work. What I'm saying is plan for the future, and anything that gets changed, anything gets replaced, then think about changing them to named configuration mode at that particular point in time. So in order for named configuration mode to work, we have the concept of address families. And the address families fall within the named configuration mode. So in this example, they're showing us the name is lab. So we typed in router EIGRP. That should be very familiar to us. That's how we started out IPv4 EIGRP router configurations. But instead of typing in a name, we typed in what? We typed in a number, which specified the autonomous system for IPv4. But now we specify a name. In this case, it's lab. You can name it whatever you want, though. It's up to you. And then inside of this name configuration, we have these address families. And we have IPv4 unicast, IPv4 multicast, IPv6 unicast, IPv6 multicast. The most common ones, you guessed it, IPv4 unicast, IPv6 unicast. So inside of these address families is where you're going to put your configurations. So IPv4 unicast is referring to EIGRP for IPv4. IPv6 unicast is referring to EIGRP for IPv6. So, is there a hierarchical structure here? Yes. Inside of these address families, there are other configuration modes that you can go into. Your main address family configuration mode, as we'll see, that's where you're going to configure the general commands, your router ID that affects the entire router, network commands, EIGRP stub commands. But anything that affects an interface or anything that you would have done on an interface originally, you do that in address family interface configuration mode. So for example, the summary address command, that's done in address family interface configuration mode. What about passive interfaces? Well, before, passive interfaces were configured underneath what? The router EIGRP configuration mode. Well, not anymore. You do it in the address family interface configuration mode because it affects the interface. Specifically, you set your timers here as well. Your hello timer, your hold timers, all done in address family interface configuration mode. So we have a hierarchy here. And then we have topology configuration mode, which provides us with those commands that affect the topology table, like variance, maximum paths, redistribution. All that's in topology configuration mode.